Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to learn how to play the prototype Blackbeard's Lost Fleet, which is a 2 to 4 player game. And you got to keep in mind this is a prototype, so things are going to be subject to change through the crowdfunding and when it's getting ready for publishing, so keep that in mind. This game here is going to be an area control, worker placement, deck building game here where you're going to be trying to go and gain control of Blackbeard's ships here for an epic win, or you're going to be trying to score the most points out of 3 different tracks to win the game. So I'm going to go down to the table here. We're going to show you how to play the game itself here. Keep in mind this is an overview. Things can be subject to change, but the goal of this is to give you an idea of how the game functions. So you get an idea of how things work in the game itself. And there is going to be cool reference sheets that came with the game here. I'm sure they're going to come in the final copy. And in the prototype, they had 2 different manuals that came in here. One was, this was the Pirate Almanac that went over the cards, and this was the one that went over the rules, which I thought was extremely helpful. I did refer to it a lot during it because some of the iconography takes a little while to get used to. And you can see that with my overview there. Some of the iconography took me a little bit to remember, but know that it's all in those references. Maybe they'll update some of the iconography for the game itself, but it didn't take that much. It is pretty straightforward after a little bit there. But let's go ahead down the table. I'm going to show you how to play Blackbeard's Lost Fleet. All right, so this is Blackbeard's Lost Fleet. Now, this is going to be a prototype of the game, so everything here is subject to change as they go through the crowdfunding until they get this ready for production. So keep that in mind while we go over. And the idea of this is just to show some cool stuff in this game, give you an idea how it plays, and that sort of thing. So let's go ahead and start off with the components that you'll see in this game. You're going to have this Nasu game board here. This is going to be where you're going to track your different points that you can get in the game and have some action spaces available throughout the game. You're also going to have these Blackbeard card deck here that's going to be shuffled up, and you're going to make a trade road here, and these are going to be multi-purpose cards that you can use throughout the game in a deck building style manner. Each player is also going to get one of these really cool treasure chests here with a earth magnet on here, so you can store your gold in there. You'll also get pirate tokens. You're going to get your sloop. Oops, sorry. This is your sloop. And you're also going to get a jolly boat, which is the smaller one. One of your sloops is going to go out on the board here. And you're also going to have these petty officers, when you're going to have a petty officer in each of these spaces and for the tracks, for tracking points in the game. You'll also get 14 cards here, all with the background of the color that you're playing. And in addition to that, each player can get these reference sheets here. And these reference sheets here will show you all the different things that you can do throughout the game. And you also have a healthy stack of pirate captains, and each player is going to get a pirate captain. They're going to all have different abilities on them, which we'll go over in a little bit. Other components that you're going to have in the game is you're going to have this first player token, and you're going to have the mutiny token that's going to be used to show which one of these ships are going to be having a mutiny this turn. So this is going to be an example of one of the 9 ships that you're going to be placing out in the game that were owned by Blackbeard, and you'll be going there to do actions or to gain control of it through mutinies. In addition to this, there's barrels and coins in the game. The barrels are going to be rum barrels, and the coins are going to be gold coins, and there's going to be the resources throughout the game itself. All right, so that's the components that you're going to have in the game. Okay, so setup for the game is going to be pretty simple. You're going to place one of these petty officers for each player here in each of the action spaces here. Off to the left of it, you're going to be placing one here in the command track, in the pirate treasure track here, and then on the bottom is the flying gang support track down on the bottom here. You'll also take one of their 2 sloops, and you're going to place them here on where the spyglass is on the treasure map track there. And you're also going to give each player all their pirates, their sloop here, and their jolly boat there too. Also the 14 cards, then their player color, and their treasure chest. In addition to this, you also place out these boards here, which are going to be each of the ships that Blackbeard owned, and you can go to these places to gain resources or try to gain control of it later on to try to get that epic win, which we'll go over in a little bit. You also place out your rum barrels and your gold coins for everyone to be able to get to, and you're going to have the mutiny token and the first player token here. So the first player is going to be the player who last set sail. If none of that has happened, you just pick one randomly. That player is going to get the mutiny token, and they're going to pick one of these locations to place the mutiny marker. And if they place the mutiny marker there, that's the first place that's going to have a mutiny during the first round of the game. All right, so that's the general setup, but then you're going to finish your player setup. So you already gave your player the pirates, their sloop, their jolly boat, figured out the first player and gave them their deck and their treasure chest. The next thing you need to do is figure out which captain you want to be. And each of these captains have all sorts of different abilities on them here. And you're going to pick one of these, and for each captain that gets picked, you're going to remove that card from this deck here, except for the captain that you pick. Once you're done with that, there's 14 cards here. So if it's a 4-player game, you're going to remove 3 cards because there'll be 3 other captains. And then you're going to remove 1 more card secretly, and you're going to have 10 cards to start the game. So you're then going to shuffle up those remaining 10 cards here and then draw 5. Let's go over some of the cool different captains that you can be in the game. Okay, so for example here, you could play this Quentin character here. And this one's ability is after sailing, take 2 rum and move any number of your pirates. So you have this symbol here for set sailing, and then you have the 2 rum that you'll get. And then the infinity sign shows that you can move any number of pirates that you would want in the game. Here's another example. Here's Jens. And Jens in here is going to let you exchange 1 gold for 3 rum or 1 rum for 3 gold, which is pretty darn cool. All right, and then we also have the Soulless Monk here. The Soulless Monk here is going to discard 4 of your pirates and gain 2 treasure map track points. So you're going to be able to move up this track here and maybe unlock your second sloop there, which is pretty darn cool. So we'll go over a couple more here. There's also going to be this Black Powder Pete here. So the Black Powder Pete, he's going to let you discard 1 of your pirates and remove up to 2 cards from your hand or discard pile from the game, which is really cool. So you can start to streamline your deck and get rid of some of those starting cards in the game there. We also have, let's see, we have Monkey Boy here. So Monkey Boy is going to have an after sailing effect here. So after sailing, you're going to draw 1 card. So that's this symbol right here. And after you draw a card, you can select a player. This player discards 1 card of their choice. So you're going to be able to discard a card from a player. All right, we also have like Shameless Will here. So with Shameless Will, you can discard 1 rum, and Shameless Will has wild cards of all the sailing symbols, which is pretty cool. In addition to this, each of these players, so they have these cool abilities we went over, but let's go ahead back over and look at some of these here. Some of them also have starting bonuses. If you look at Fingers, he doesn't have a starting bonus, but if you look at these guys here, this guy's going to start with 3 gold and 3 rum. This one's going to do an auto sail to a location. So some of them actually have starting abilities too. And some of them are pretty straightforward. Now in the rule book, it does have some that you suggest to start with. You can check that out for that, and that might change over time. But like Fingers here, you get to summon your jolly boat, which is pretty cool. You also have some more complex ones here, like this one right here. So what these symbols mean down on the bottom. Now also there's a separate rule book in here that goes over each of these, so you don't really need to know all this iconography, but the iconography doesn't change, so it's good to learn it because you're going to find a lot of these in the cards as you go through the game itself. So you're going to discard 4 of your pirates to gain 1 point on the treasure map track, which again, this is the treasure map track on here. and move any player back 1 point on the treasure map track. So not only are you going to be moving forward, but you're also going to be moving another player. And that pirate question mark shows another player, and then this is the action that occurs. So that's that player, which is a little bit more complex and harder to play character in the game. And we have some really easy ones that have really powerful powers, like this one here, this Freebird here. And this one, for placing purposes here, the Jolly Boat counts as the sloop for this player, which is really, really cool. This one here is pretty straightforward too. This is going to be Filthy Joe. And Filthy Joe, so this is the wind sailing mark on there. You're going to place 2 pirates, so that's the pirate symbol here, and gain a gold. So that one's pretty straightforward too. All right, and we also have Meat Stick Nick. And Meat Stick Nick has a couple different things. You're going to start on the second field of the treasure map track, which is really cool. Also, you're going to discard 4 rum to remove up to 2 pirates on a ship with the mutiny marker. So you're going to be able to maybe have an easier time controlling those ships when that happens. We're going to go over how that actually works in a little bit here. We also have Eve the Navigator, which has another sailing action in here. And for Eve the Navigator, you can discard 2 rum, and you get to play your second turn immediately, which is pretty cool. All right. We also have Battery here, Melina. And you can discard X gold to discard X pirates from other players from any ship. So that's pretty cool. So you can use gold to remove them. And you have to have pirates in an area there to participate in a mutiny. So that can be very powerful itself there. All right, and the last one we're going to go over here is going to be the Silver-Tongued here, Myros Levas, the Silver-Tongue. Discard any number of cards from your hand and either buy a card with a cost equal to the number of cards discarded plus 3, or discard 2 gold and buy a card with a cost equal to the number of cards discarded plus 3 from your hand. So it's going to be a little bit more complicated guy, but also a good pirate. So you're going to have all these different pirates, and each player is going to select one. You could randomly hand them out or allow people to pick them or draft them, whichever way you want to do it. But you're going to pick a pirate, and that's going to be for your player. And one other thing for the player setup is the first player is going to get 1 gold and 1 rum. The second player is going to get 2 gold. Third player is going to get 1 rum and 2 gold. And the fourth player is going to get 1 rum and 2 gold to start the game. And that's going to end the player setup. Let's go ahead into gameplay. What is the goal of this game? Well, the goal of the game is you're a captain, and with the help of your fellows, you want to take over the power among the pirates after the disappearance of Blackbeard. You will conspire against other captains, search for legendary treasure, investigate mutinies and ship takeovers, and in your quiet moments, seek the support of your pirate brethren. Your success will be reflected by the position of your petty officer on the 3 different victory tracks. So there's the controlled fleet track here, and as you move down there, you're going to get more points. And that's going to be the number of ships that you have captured. You're also going to have your treasure map track, and that's going to be for the treasure hunt there. And you're going to get different rewards as you go by on here. And this is going to be your flying gang track. And this one's going to be for the support of your pirate brethren in the game. You also have these captains to help aid you, which you be one of these captains here, throughout the game. You're going to have these sloops, and you're going to have the jolly boats. Now, the rules for these guys are going to be using these sloops and stuff. I'm going to show you how to get to these locations. You're going to be using these cards as multi-purpose. And you're going to take a look at these cards, and if you play this card and you see the symbol, you're going to be able to travel to that location with either your sloop or your jolly boat. Now, your sloop will be placed here, and your jolly boat can be placed here. Now, the rules for this is 1 jolly boat here can be placed if there's no sloop. If a jolly boat is here, a sloop can still be placed, but if a sloop exists in this space, it basically ends the space there. A jolly boat can't go there. So what that means is this is pretty much your big worker in the game, and when this is placed in a location, it pretty much locks down that location as yours. Keep in mind too that if you want to go to the Nassau, you're also going to need to have your sloop out there. So It might be advantageous to throw out your jolly boat first, or it might be advantageous to throw out your sloop to lock out a place in the board. You have these petty officers in the game, and these petty officers are the ones that are going to move along the tracks here to show your progress on these different tracks. You're going to have your pirates here, and these are going to be what you're going to be using throughout the game there to do majority control on each of these ships as the mutinies come up. And if you do win a spot, when the pirates becomes an officer, and you permanently control that location. And if you permanently control a location, and someone goes to this location with either their jolly boat or sloop, you will gain a reward here that shows on the right. So some of these rewards are better than others, but they're all pretty awesome. So it's, in addition to that, you can also win the epic win of the game. You also will have your player deck, and your player deck is going to be what you're going to be building throughout the game, and you're going to be using these multi-purpose cards to do different actions on your turn. There's a couple golden rules while you're playing the game. If the contents of the captain boards or game board conflict with the rules in the manual, the importance of the content as follows. Content of the captain board overrules everything else. Content of the card overrules everything else. And then you have the general rules of the game. All right, how do rounds work? Well, the game's going to go over 9 different rounds, and at the end of the 9th round, the player with the most points are going to win, unless an epic win has occurred. So the epic win is going to occur when you have a specific number of these controlled by a player. All right, so how the epic win works here, and the number of ships that you need to control, is in a 4-player game, it's going to be 5 ships. In a 3-player game is going to be 6 ships, and in a 2-player game it's going to be 7 ships. So you're either going to go to the end of the 9th round, or you're going to have the epic win and control enough of those ships to immediately end the game and immediately win. All right, so let's go over start of the round. The player holding the first player marker selects a ship by placing the mutiny marker, which we've done, and that's going to be the ship that's going to have the mutiny at the end of the game. And you can only select a ship that's not had a mutiny on there. So any of the ships that have a mutiny on there are going to have an officer on there, and that's owned by someone. So it has to be a place that hasn't had a mutiny. Then you're going to go into player turns. On a player's turn, the player must choose one of 3 options. They can sail, they can follow a mission, or fold and purchase cards. So these cards here are basically what you're going to get to do during the game here. And you're going to have 5 cards in here, and they're going to have a couple different parts of these cards that you can look at. One here is going to be the buying power of the card here, so you can see this little bell here. This is going to be how favor provided by this card, and use favor to pick up new cards here. And the cost on these guys' cards for favor is going to be up here. And the only way you're going to gain these favors is if you're going to fold. And if you fold, your remaining cards are used for purchases. So if you look at my starting hand here, I believe I have several. I have all but one has these favor on them. The other thing you can do on here is you can sail. If you're going to sail to a location, you're going to take a look and see what symbols are along here. So some of them have different symbols here. Like you can see this one has this different symbol. And you're going to look for that matching symbol out on the board. And you can go to that location. You can go to that location with either your jolly boat or your sloop, and depending on what is already there, depends on whether you can place your jolly boat or sloop out. And again, once the sloop is placed in a location, that location is effectively locked out for the round. When you go out to these locations, like let's say this one we're going to have the mutiny at, you're going to get the reward down the bottom. This one's pretty straightforward. You're going to get 2 gold and a rum barrel, and you're going to be able to use these throughout the game there to do different things. But you would place either your sloop there or your jolly boat and then get that reward. Later on in the game, if there's an officer at that location, they're going to get their reward here on the right. In addition, when you go to that location, you can also follow missions, and basically what missions are going to be here is you're going to follow what's on here, and then you get the rewards down the bottom. So in this case, you're going to discard a card and gain 2 gold, basically is what's going to happen with that one. And the last thing you can do is fold and purchase cards. And when you fold, you're going to take a look at these values here. You're going to add them up, and you're going to be able to purchase any card here in the trade row that you have enough resources for. Like this one's here 2. This one here is 5, which lets you sell to any location, which is pretty cool. And that's the 3 different things. But you can also do free actions. And there's a way to also do these actions on here, which we're going to go over in a second. So your free actions consist of discarding any number of cards, and some cards here will give you resources when you discard them, or in this case pirate. You will gain all those, and in this case like a barrel. So you can discard any number of cards you want on your turn as a free action to gain some resources to do different things in the game. If you want to sail to the Nassau instead, you're going to discard a card, and then you're going to set your sloop. It has to be your sloop on one of these 4 different locations on the board. Once you picked your location, you're going to be able to take your petty officer here, and you're going to put your pawn on one of the free fields on the venue track. So there can't be any other person here, and you can go put your officer on here. Here's going to get 4 pirates, but you're going to be able to get the resources of any part of that track here. So that's how you're going to go to the Nassau and how you can do these action spaces on that board here. So there's a couple different symbols that you're going to see in the game here, and it's really important for the moving pirates and placing pirate portion of the game. If you don't see the double arrow, so let me find one with the double arrow in here. So like if you see something like these are going to be pirates, or you went here, you place 4 pirates. So what do? If an action allows you to add a pirate, you place a pirate pawn to the mutiny field of any ship. So here I'm going to be able to place 4 pirates out. So I'm going to go ahead and place 4 pirates, and let's say I want them to go here. If you see arrows on the pirates, like this one right here actually, this will allow you to move 3 pirates from one location. So I can move these 3 pirates over here. So those are the 2 things you can do for pirates, and that's very important because there's an area control portion of this game, and gaining control of ships is very important, not only to prevent other people from getting the epic win, but maybe attempting to get the epic win yourself. Okay, so now we have the pirate board here, and you have these really cool actions on here, and you can have a matching card in your deck. You will have a matching card of that pirate in your deck. What happens if you play that? Well, you get a bonus card that conforms with your captain board. A card conforming with the board of the captain, you choose to gain special abilities. You can play this card in one of 2 ways. As a regular card, so I can play this as my regular card, sail to these locations, doesn't really give me much other than that. Using a special ability on the captain board, you can do one of those 2 ways there. So each captain provides a unique ability, and detailed descriptions are in the game here, but I can sail and then gain 2 pirates and a gold here. So I can either use this for its ability just to sail those or I can gain this here. So that's how the player boards work in the game. All right, so one thing I did want to point out, though, just to make sure you know, is that when you purchase these cards, they go to the discard pile, and you leave your discard pile as it is until you need to draw cards and you don't have anything left in your draw deck. Then you'll take your discard pile, shuffle it up, and draw 5 new cards. And that's only done at the end of a round. So let's go ahead over what happens at the end of the round. You're going to transfer the first player market. You're going to take advantage of free actions if you wish. You can buy new cards and refresh your hand. So transferring the first player marker. If you folded, take the first player marker. So if you're the first person to fold, you're going to take the first player marker, and you're going to be the first player next turn. However, if you already have the first player marker, that's not going to happen. It's going to go to the player on your left there instead. So the big idea of this is you're never going to have the same person as the first player multiple turns. So no one ever going to get that. So you'll be able to transfer the first player marker, so you'll gain it or move it, either way. If you're the first person to fold, you can take advantage of any free actions before you end your round. You can buy new cards. Like I showed, you can purchase these cards here with whatever favor values that you have added up in there that from what you folded with. You can refresh your hand then. So you'll draw up to 5 cards. If you don't have enough in the deck, you're going to draw what you can, shuffle up the discard pile, and draw up to your 5. And that's going to end the round for you. Once everyone has folded and ended their round, then and gone through those steps, then we're going to do the mutiny on the ships. So we're going to take a look at the ships, and we're going to see, I'll grab a couple extra pirates here to show you. All right, so mutinies are pretty simple in how they get resolved. You're going to have an area control thing. So right now we have 4 green pirates to 3 orange pirates. Those are the only 2 people that are in this mutiny. If there's no pirates in there, the other player can't participate in the mutiny. And what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, well, right now green is winning over orange because there's 4 green and 3 orange. But each player can secretly take a look at their treasure chest here, and they can secretly put in as many coins as they want in their hand, and simultaneously for everyone in the mutiny they can reveal, and these will get added to the power at that location. So we both had 3 coins in our hand, so we now have 6 orange and 7 green. These are going to go back to the supply here. Green did win because it had more, so green's going to be able to promote one to an officer, take control of that spot, and go up on this track here. All right, what else happens with this mutiny? Well, the pirate who lost the mutiny, or pirates, will remove half of their pirates, rounding up from the ship. So here we have 3, but we're going to round up, so they're going to lose 2. And that'll go back to their supply. The player who won the mutiny places one of their pirates as an officer to show they had control. They're going to go up on the fleet track space there, and they're going to advance their petty officer on the flying gang track by 1 or 2 fields, depending on the reward on the ship. So this is going to be your flying track here, and there's going to be different rewards that you're going to get through some of these tracks here. Like here you're going to get a gold, here you're going to get your extra sloop, and so on. So these are different things you're going to pay attention to as you're moving up on these boards here. But that's the rewards. You're going to get all remaining parts of that player who won the mutiny are returned to their pool. So these 3 will be returned to my pool here, and this guy would hang around. All right, so that's how each round's going to go. You're going to go through 9 different rounds of this game, unless someone gets the epic win on there. All right, so let's say you make it to the 9th round, and you didn't use any of the accelerated game ends or whatever. You're going to go into, or no one won the epic win here. You're going to go through scoring here. So if there's no epic win, you're going to go through scoring. You're going to add up the values of the 3 different tracks here. So you're going to do your treasure map track, your controlled feat track, and your flying gang track, and look at your score on those, add them up. Also, for every 3 resources you have, either rum or gold, counted up, you're going to gain a point for each one of those 2. And then the player with the highest score is going to win. All right, so in case of a tie, the player with the highest value on the controlled fleet track is going to win. If there's still a tie, the players share the winning. So that's going to be how you're going to be playing Blackbeard's Lost Fleet. And I pointed out some of the cool stuff that's in this game here. Again, remember, this is a prototype, so this is subject to change. But I hope this gave you a general idea how the game flows and how you play the game itself. There's a lot of little things here, too, that we didn't exactly go over. A lot of the iconography here is going to be explained in the book itself. And until you learn the iconography, you're going to be using this book here. But like in a nutshell, in a quick overview of the prototype, this is going to be how you play it. Thank you for watching.